Hello everyone, I'm Bets Golden. Thank you so much for joining me. First of all, I want to apologize for this right there, that glare. I need to do this on my glass mat and my overhead light is on, so unfortunately that is there. But I am working with their watercolor inks, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever played with these before, but they're really a lot of fun. Christy Taylor has this new line out. She has amazing alcohol inks, and this is her complimentary line of watercolor inks, and they come in a sparkle or a like a flat. And the sparkle obviously has sparkle and the flat obviously has flat. And I already have them laid out over here, as you can tell, because I was playing a little bit at first. And I want to show you how you can use them. There are two ways that you can use them. I'm going to show you one way today. The other is the basic way, which is basically you take your paintbrush, you get it wet, and you put it directly on to your picture. Pardon me. Today I'm going to show you how to do it with a stamped image in which you get your substrate wet. And so the first thing you want to do with these inks is you want to go ahead and give them a really nice shake. And then you're going to want to just put out one dollop, like this is one drop from each of these inkers. And if it dries, it's okay. You just mist them with water or get your paintbrush wet and they reactivate. So that can sit there for days. I don't have to, if I walk away, I get busy, it's no big deal. I can let it sit there for days. So what we're going to do is we are going to use this right here. This is a stamped image by Paper Artsy. It's this image right here. This is one of my very favorite stamps. You guys have probably seen it recently in a video I did. I really, really love it, but I very rarely show it because one of the things I love about the company also is hard for me to show because they only work with small businesses. So their stores are in brick and mortars around the world. And if it's not in your local craft store, you will not be able to find it online anywhere except for their website 6 months after it's been released, which is super good. That is awesome. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of the small business, your local, brick and mortar store that's not owned by a huge chain. Go there, get this. Unfortunately, my local does not carry it, so I have to wait 6 months. This one came out, I believe, in January or February of 2020. The only reason why I have it is because I took a class at Creativation, and this is one of the ones that we walked away with. So I'm sorry about that, but I wish I had a link that I could give you, but I don't. However, it's so good, you gotta see it. And they still have fantastic stamps over on their website, which is www.paperartsy.co.uk. If you love this, let your local craft store know. Maybe they don't know about them and they can carry them. They really are wonderful to work with for your local craft store. So what I did with this is I took some Versamark and I embossed it. And this is on mixed media paper. It's not a good quality paper. It is this, okay? So it's not the best. This would be a great technique with watercolor paper. Hindsight 2020, that's what I should have done, but I didn't. So what you want to do is you want to find your paintbrushes. And I'm going to use these, a couple of these. I have them all set out over here for me to use. And then you're just going to take and lightly mist your paper. Now, you're going to go over and you're going to pick up your ink, and I'll start with green. And I believe that this is the flat green. And you're just going to start to paint that in. And if my green is a little bit too dry, I can either moisten the area with more water, or I can just take and re-wet my ink like so. And I even have some green off over there that I think I'll pull on. And I'm not loving this brush. It's a little bit frayed, so I'm gonna take that, dump it, and move on to a different brush. I think that this brush will be a little bit better. And the thing I like about embossing whenever I'm doing this technique is it will pull into spots. And I will get a little bit of runoff, but it will stay within the lines a little bit easier. This is also a really great technique to use if you have a hard time coloring within the lines, this is a wonderful technique to use. Just emboss it and go from there. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to stay in the lines. So this is a beautiful green. And if the paper was super wet, I could actually just pick up a little bit of this ink with my brush and drop it in, and it would start to flow into all those little nooks and crannies. So I'm literally just pushing the ink around on this. That's all I'm doing. And if I notice that it starts to get dry, again, I can go ahead and just like down here, this is actually really dry. So I'm just gonna go on in with my wet brush and paint it out like you normally would. But this is a great way to kind of cheat on watercolor, is you wet your substrate first and then you apply your ink. And it's really, really pretty. Again, this one is relatively dry down here. The heavier the cardstock, the better. Watercolor cardstock is probably the best option for this technique. However, hindsight 2020, you know, whatever. All right, so now I am going to do this flower, and I want to do it with this beautiful liana. So I'm going to pick up some of that color over here, and I'm just going to work it on through. And the paper is starting to get dry, so I can just mist, and you see how it just moves it around so pretty. And I'm a little bit dry over there as well, so I may want to go ahead and hit that with water as the spray bottle the next time. But what I love about these inks is, though the containers look super small, don't let it fool you, because literally it takes one drop to paint an entire image and then some. You know, depending on how big your image is, you can get a lot of use out of that. And then what I can do is I can go in, and I'm going to set this aside for now, but I'm going to come back to it. But I want to go ahead and start with this beautiful, almost like a burgundy-ish pink. It is called a net. And so I'm just gonna hit this with a little bit of water, and that has already started to dry some, which I'm okay with. So I could go through and lay out a bunch of ink and then hit it with my water, or I can hit it first with the water and drop it in. It's going to splatter if I go through and hit it. You can get more of a clean line if you do it drier, but I'm not necessarily looking for that. But I do want to show you what it looks like on a applied rather dry. And as you can see, the color intensity is definitely greater. It's still wet, but it's not as wet as that one is. And then I'm going to mix some colors to do some highlighting as well on this. And I am not by any means a watercolor artist. Okay, and then I want to, and I don't mind that it's outside of the lines. I'm going to actually cut this up, cut these out. And then I'm just going to go through and hit the stems. Now I could go in every other and do one blue, one, you know, pink or whatever, but that works. All right, so I want to go ahead and hit this stem with some blue. So I'm going to set this aside for now. I'm going to go ahead and just pick up this blue right here and just pull it on through. And let's just do this right here. And now I'm going to go through, and I want to put a little bit of pink there and a little bit of blue on this one. So I'm going to pick up some pink and just add in to those spots, following the artist's line, just to give it some fun color variation in there, so to speak. Rub that off. I'm going to actually hit that blue with some water and then kind of go back over this area a little bit to pull that through. Now I have some fun purpley type pretty colors on here, and I'm going to do the same with this. Just pull in some of that blue, create kind of a funky fun type feel. And I am going to go ahead and just add a little bit, another drop of blue, so I'm shaking it up really good. I'm just going to pick that up, go ahead and just hit that in. And this works together because the base is red, so I'm going to get a fun purple watercolor type effect in here. And so you can just, you know, keep playing with it until you get it to your liking. All right, so that's just a lot of fun. And then I don't want to waste this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a watercolor piece of paper and create a background with it utilizing these colors right here. So this is another one that I painted with this same type technique. This paper I got a little bit more wet than I did on this paper, and as you can tell, especially there, the intensity. I am going to go ahead and run this through my scan and cut this image out and do a journal page with it. So even though I got outside the lines, it doesn't matter. Watercolor is notorious for getting outside of the lines. All right, so I'm going to push this off over here. I'm going to take and just wet this, and let's just see what happens when I take this piece of paper and just create possibly a background with it. I have to be a little bit careful with green if I don't want mud, because I am mixing my warms and my cools. As you can tell, it got a little bit muddy. All right. And voila, now we have kind of a pretty background. Let me hit it with some water. I mean some heat, I should say. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw down some more color just right here. And I'm going to use the Sparkle Liana and then also the Sparkle Annette. And I'm just going to do a drop. Can barely see it. And then the Sparkle Annette. Hit it with some water, get it to move. And really, I should have taken and put that on when it was wet, because look how much that moves. So pretty. All right, this is a lot of ink. A lot of ink right here. So I'm just gonna take and start to go around on my edges and create kind of a fun type background. So let me hit it with some water, and then I want to take and just do a little bit of that blue in there, and I think I'm going to create this as the background for my card that I'm going to create out of these images that I actually colored with you. I went ahead and dried that. I'm just going to take some of my Liana, wet down my mat a little bit, and then just do a drizzle of that so that I can go ahead and just add some of that blue to this background, and then I can take and make it move a little bit more with my water. So let me go ahead and do that again. I'm going to do the spirit. So I'm just creating a really pretty background right now, and I'm going to wet the paper down as well. This is watercolor paper, so it is made, oh, I'm loving that now, that it is made for a lot of wet medium. And then if I wanted to, I could go in and blow it around, or if I like the placement of it, I could go ahead and just heat set it, which is what I'm going to do. So make sure you check out at the end of this video the card that I create utilizing this background as well as the image or two from this. And the stamp set that I'm going to use on it is actually the Close to My Heart Stamp of the Month for May. It's $5, so I figure, hey, why not use it? All right, you guys, I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you consider subscribing if you haven't done so. Please ask me any questions or leave any comments down below. Until next time, I'm Betsy Golden. Happy crafting.